In the unfolding narrative of ancient Rome's ascent, the city's early development is a testament to the diverse cultural influences it absorbed from its neighbors. The Eternal City, as it would come to be known, did not emerge in isolation, but rather as a hub of multicultural interaction, particularly influenced by the advanced societies of the Etruscans to the north and the Greeks to the south. The tapestry of early Roman history reveals a civilization deeply indebted to its forerunners for many elements that would come to define its identity. The religious practices of Rome, for instance, were heavily influenced by the Etruscans. From this northern civilization, the Romans adopted their alphabet, which the Etruscans themselves had adapted from Greek colonies in Italy. The symbols and insignia of political power in the Roman Republic, such as the curule chair, the toga praetexta with its purple border, and the fasces, a bundle of rods, were all legacies of Etruscan culture. Even the spectacle of gladiatorial combats and the ceremonial military triumph had their roots in Etruscan customs. Rome's geographical location was crucial to its cultural and political development. Situated 12 miles inland from the sea on the Tiber River, Rome was poised at the border between Latium and Etruria, commanding an essential river crossing and a land route from the Apennines to the coast. This strategic position made it a natural convergence point for Latins, Etruscans, and Sabines, contributing to the diverse composition of its early population. The Roman society's openness in historical times may well have stemmed from this initial diversity. As Italy began to emerge into the historical spotlight around 700 BC, it was a land of vast cultural and linguistic diversity. Various peoples with different cultures, languages, and livelihoods populated the region. The Indo-European family of languages was well represented, with dialects like Oscan, Umbrian, Latin, and Venetic spoken across the peninsula. The Iapyges and Messapii, who dwelled on the southeastern coast, shared linguistic affinities with the Illyrians across the Adriatic. Meanwhile, the Po Valley in northern Italy was home to Celtic-speaking Gallic tribes, and Greek colonies peppered the southern coast, engaging in active trade with the natives. The challenge of reconstructing early Roman history is compounded by the fact that historical accounts of Rome were not penned until centuries after the foundational periods of the regal period and the early Republic. Greek historians began to take notice of Rome during the Pyrrhic War, as Rome neared the completion of its Italian conquest. Rome's first native historian, Quintus Fabius Pictor, wrote his accounts even later, during the Second Punic War. These early histories, including those in the Roman annalistic tradition, often attempted to provide a year-by-year account of events. However, the surviving historical sources, such as the first 10 books of Livy, are a blend of fact and fiction. Written much later, they depended on earlier sources like the consular fasti, religious records, law texts, and treaties that provided a framework, but also on folklore that often obscured the truth with patriotic embellishments or fabrications. As Roman historians of the 1st century BC came under the influence of Greek rhetoric, their works expanded in length and dramatic detail, reflecting more the military and political controversies of their own times rather than providing accurate depictions of early Rome. The difficulty in distinguishing fact from fiction in these accounts means that modern scholars must navigate a minefield of personal judgment, leading to ongoing debates and disagreements about many aspects of Rome's formative years. The result is a historical record that is as complex as it is captivating, a narrative that continues to evolve as new methods and findings shed light on the multifaceted origins of Rome. The historical tapestry of early Rome, woven from a confluence of cultures and customs, presents a formidable challenge to those seeking to discern its true nature. Ancient Roman historians were confronted with a dearth of contemporaneous sources when documenting the city's past, particularly during the regal period and the early Republic. The passage of time between the events and the recording of history meant that later historians, like Livy, had to rely on sources that were often several generations removed from the events they described. The dearth of primary accounts was further complicated by the historian's reliance on the annalistic tradition, a method of recording events year by year, which was fraught with gaps and inconsistencies. The consular fasti, a list of yearly magistrates, served as a chronological backbone for historical accounts, but the details surrounding the events often came from religious records, the texts of laws and treaties, and, significantly, from folklore. These narratives were imbued with patriotic fervor, leading to accounts that emphasized Rome's grandeur and often strayed from objective history into the realm of legend and myth. The evolution of historical writing in Rome mirrors the broader cultural shifts of the period. Initially, Roman histories were succinct, focusing on the recitation of facts and notable stories. However, as contact with Greek culture deepened, Roman writers began to imbue their works with the elements of Greek historiography, which favored elaborate narratives, dramatized speeches, and detailed accounts of battles and political machinations. The influence of Greek rhetorical techniques meant that historical works became not just records of the past, but also vehicles for literary expression and persuasion. Consequently, the histories of early Rome, particularly those rendered by Livy, are complex compositions that blend historical fact with creative storytelling. For modern scholars, this blend poses a considerable challenge in distinguishing the historical kernel from the mythological chaff. The process is subjective and contentious, often reflecting the personal judgments and interpretive frameworks of the historians themselves. As such, controversies abound concerning the accuracy and authenticity of the accounts of Rome's early history, leaving a legacy of debate and discussion that continues to the present day. The task, then, for those who seek to understand Rome's beginnings is not simply to read the ancient sources, but to critically engage with them, to question their veracity, and to be mindful of the biases and limitations inherent in their creation. It is through this rigorous examination that the story of Rome is pieced together, a tale as complex and enduring as the city itself.